I 32 have a brother 30, Kevin, who is a single dad to a 3 years old. Kevin lives in the same city as me. We don't have any family of relatives here, just a few friends. Kevin has a habit of dumping his kid on me at random times to watch while he goes out on dates with women. So far he's gone out for 4 dates while expecting me to watch my nephew. It bothered me because I have work commitments, I'm a nurse, and my schedule can unpredictable, and so he caused me issues at work for dropping his kid off at my house without telling me first. Last week he did it again. He came over at 6 p.m. and entered my house with my nephew. He had a spare key, while I was showering, and left the house immediately. I got out of the shower and was shocked to see my nephew standing there alone. I asked where his dad was and he said he just left. I knew he wanted me to watch my nephew. I called him several times on the phone and he did not pick up. I was so mad and almost freaking out because I was getting late for my shift. I sent him a text telling him to come pick his son up right now or I'd call cops on him for child abandonment. He texted back begging that I bear with it just this time because he had an important date and he couldn't leave in the middle of it. I told him that I was serious and I'd do it and gave him 10 minutes to get home. He got home looking pissed and started yelling at me for ruining his date and making him leave in the middle of it, just because I couldn't bother skip one damn shift to watch my nephew. I told him I never agreed to watch his son and he made me do it. He said that it was an emergency, which made me laugh because calling a date night emergency is just absurd. Long story short, he left with my nephew but hasn't stopped blaming me for spoiling his date and probably causing damage to the relationship between him and his potential girlfriend. It's been a week and he's still salty about it, demanding I make it to him and call his date and lie to her and tell her some sob story about why he had to leave like that, but I said I won't do that. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Kevin is a selfish idiot. His date wasn't an emergency, and I would suggest taking the key back and finding a friend or neighbor that won't do those sorts of things to hold on to it. Also, if he whines about calling the woman again, OMG, who does that? Take him up on the offer and tell her exactly what happened instead of the lie and that Kevin wanted you to spin some sob story to make her feel bad for him. Not the idiot. I agree with other commenters. Call the date up and lay everything your brother has done. What kind of self-centered idiot just leaves their child sitting in a room while you're in the shower? What if the kid had wandered into a room you wouldn't normally go into, not made a sound, and you'd left for work? I'd seriously consider calling CPS on him the next time he does this, without giving him any heads up it's happening. Not the idiot. The lock should have been changed after this happened the first time. You need to shut this down. Tell your brother that you are happy to watch your nephew at pre-arranged times that work for you, but that you have changed the locks and last-minute drop-offs are a thing of the past, and if it happens again you will call the police first and he can deal with them. He is so beyond out of line. You cannot meet in the middle of this. All babysitting must be pre-arranged. That is a completely reasonable line to draw, but given that he is completely unreasonable, you are going to have to take drastic measures to enforce it. My 19 family recently adopted a puppy. She's young and pretty shy, but we're starting to introduce her to people so she can get accustomed. Me and my parents talked about it and we all agree that our puppy should meet our friends/family one person at a time. I invited one of my friends, Anna, 19, to meet my dog last Thursday because Anna has a dog herself, so I figured it would be a good fit to let Anna be the first of my friends to meet my dog because she's so experienced. I shortly texted with Anna about her coming to my house on Wednesday afternoon. I'm also friends with Betty, also 19. Betty can be kind of insecure sometimes, especially when she's not part of something or invited to something. For example, if she's not invited to someone's birthday party but Anna and I, as her closest friends, are, she sulks, is in a bad mood and makes snide remarks until either Anna or I ask the host if she can come, too. That's basically what happened last week. I invited Anna to meet my puppy on Wednesday afternoon, and the same evening I receive a text from Betty. She texted me this: "Just letting you know I'm going to come to your house tomorrow too. Anna and I have plans to go to lunch together afterwards, so we'll meet your puppy and then go to lunch." At this point it was like 11 p.m. and I just wanted to go to sleep, so I texted Betty back explaining that she unfortunately can't come because we're introducing our dog to one person at a time, but she's invited to come over on Friday or whenever she's free to meet my dog. Betty left me on read. So Thursday comes around and Anna stops by my house to meet my dog. Everything is going well until the doorbell rings and of course, it's Betty. I'm pissed, open the door and tell Betty that she can't come inside. I told her that she can wait on the front lawn for Anna so they can go to lunch afterwards, but she can't come inside. Betty throws a huge fit, but I close the door so I don't hear much of what she was saying. Anna and I quickly wrap things up, so after 10 minutes or so Anna is getting ready to leave. Betty was sitting in her car at this point. So now Betty is still mad at me for not letting her come inside my house. Anna says she wants to remain impartial. So am I the idiot for not letting Betty inside my house and therefore making her wait inside her car after she invited herself? Everyone's the idiot here. Betty needs to accept that she can't just invite herself to things as a way of feeling accepted, and she should have accepted the fact that you told her not to come to your house. However, it seems like you don't treat Betty the way you should treat a friend. Also, it's just a puppy and I think you're really going overboard with one person at a time. It's good for puppies to socialize and get comfortable with other people, as long as those people treat the puppy well. The puppy isn't going to collapse if you introduce it to more than one person at a time. Not the idiot. You and Anna need to work on giving Betty clear boundaries and explaining them to her. Talk to Betty about where her massive insecurities are coming from and then explain the boundaries you are setting to her. For example, we have group things we do together. We have one-on-one things that we do sometimes with you and sometimes without you. Just because you're not being included in these activities doesn't mean we don't care about it. Honestly, if Betty's behavior continues like this, it's only a matter of time before you and Anna get so sick of it that you start cutting her out of your lives. Her behavior is childish and unhealthy for all affected by it. This is so stupid. You are the idiot. Why are you only letting your puppy meet one person at a time? Because it's shy is not a good reason. If you want your dog to be well socialized, it needs to learn to be around a lot of different types of people. Also, your dog is not going to remember who the hell it met anyway, regardless of if they've met them one at a time or not. This is just really unnecessary drama. Let your annoying friend meet your dog. You don't make someone wait in the car like they are the dog. What the hell? My boyfriend, 31, needs new glasses to be able to see properly. He asked me, 24, to pay for them, because he would struggle to meet the cost. Initially, I said of course. He earns a little less than I do, and has had his hours cut because of the pandemic, so I could understand that it might be hard for him to afford them. Meanwhile, I have savings, and have, so far, kept my job, so it wouldn't make a huge difference to me if I pay. After I agreed, he thanked me, and said that he would choose the frames next week and would let me know how much money to transfer to him. This was all fine, until today, when he mentioned that he was considering upgrading his car. He only bought a car last year, so I asked if now was really a good time to be considering that, since he's struggling for money. He said that he isn't struggling, he actually has about $1,000 in his savings account, enough to cover the upgrade, if he part exchanges his current car, and that it isn't my business how he spends his money. This annoyed me. I feel like, if he has sufficient savings to cover the glasses, he should pay for them himself, and should prioritize that over an unnecessary new car. I said as much to him, but he thinks I'm being unreasonable. From his perspective, I have more savings than he does, and it won't affect me much if I give him the money. Am I the idiot for saying that I now won't pay for the glasses, and that he'll have to use his savings to cover it? I know I agreed in the first instance, and that paying won't really make a big difference to me. But I feel like he was trying to take advantage of me, by implying that he couldn't afford it, when he actually has more than enough. Not the idiot. He is 7 years older than you and makes less money than you and is less put away for a rainy day. This is unacceptable, and honestly I would caution against being with him, because that is a huge red flag to me. Like, it's okay to make less money. But he has, supposedly, had 7 more years to learn to build at least some savings for things like this. Especially since he needs glasses to function. It is likely decisions like this, upgrade the car for no reason, that has led to him being in this spot financially, and that is not the person you want to make a life with. I promise. Not the idiot. You agreed when you thought he couldn't afford it due to circumstances beyond his control. Then you find out he does actually have the money. He needs to learn some serious priorities. Seeing is a need. A new car, even though he got one last year and doesn't actually need it, is a want. A very stupid and expensive want. He has the money. He can get his own glasses. He would probably have tried to pin you with the cost for the fancy $300 kind of frames just because he wasn't paying. Not the idiot. It doesn't sound like your boyfriend is very good with money. If he lost hours and therefore is making less income, why would he blow his savings, especially when things are nowhere near normal yet? At the very least, I'd understand if he wanted to hold on to that money in case of an emergency, car breaking down, medical bills, etc., as those things can get pricey pretty quickly. Is his car upgrade necessary? If it's not, I would also be considering not paying for the glasses after all. Or at the very least, only give him X amount and he will need to cover the rest if he needs more. Okay, so my roommate has this friend, let's call her Alice, that comes over a lot. Like even when my roommate isn't home. I don't mind since for the most part she is just killing some time between classes, our apartment is close to the school, and she cleans after herself so there isn't really a strain on me. My roommate and I have a pretty liberal food rule. Essentially, if it doesn't have a note, it's a free-for-all. I have zero issues with anyone eating my food since I tend to make too much of it anyhow and often leave extra in the fridge or cabinets for anyone that wants it. Now here is the issue, Alice is a vegetarian. She claims that meat makes her ill and that she is allergic. I take allergies super seriously, and don't mind going an extra mile to be safe. When I cook for her, I am very careful about cross-contamination and even making sure to carefully soak my utensils in heavy disinfectants, not use cast irons that have had meat in them before ever. I disinfect the dining room table in case there is any traces, and so on. But for the food I make for myself, I use a lot of meat products. Even if it doesn't seem like it has meat, chances are it has meat. Like I use chicken stock for my rice, will use leftover beef juices to stir fry veg and so on. Well, at one point I walked out of my room from a nap and saw Alice at our table eating some rice. Rice I knew that I used chicken broth to make. I panicked and told her that the rice had meat. Well, Alice got pissed and said I should have left a note. I told her most of the food I make in the fridge has some form of meat in it. It's just how I cook, and it came out that she has been eating from our fridge for a long time. She got really mad at me and accused me of trying to poison her, and I reacted defensively and said she faked an allergy, because if she was allergic she would have known to not eat any of it on the first bite. I have a lot of food allergies, so I felt like I made lots of unnecessary accommodations for her when I did cook. Lots of nasty words said on both sides. Now she is writhing around in bed moaning that I poisoned her and that her stomach hurt and would suddenly run to the bathroom making gagging noises. I don't know if she is throwing up, I honestly didn't go to check. My friends say that since she is over so often and that I told her she is free to help herself to whatever is in the fridge, I should have left a note on what had meat on it to warn her. I feel I was lied to about an allergy and the fact that when it comes down to it, it's my food, and I make it for me. But my roommate seems torn up that I caused a rift in her friend and said Alice can be a drama queen and I should just apologize, but I don't feel I did anything wrong. Am I the idiot for not apologizing to Alice? Not the idiot. I honestly don't care about her lying about her allergy, but the problem I have is the fact she ate your food and is complaining that you didn't tell her how you made it. If she really doesn't want to eat meat, then she should just be careful about what she eats. I don't eat pork, so I'm always careful about what food contains, and if I'm not sure I even rather wait until I can be sure I eat something I can eat. Not the idiot. It's Alice's responsibility to ensure that whatever food she is mooching off of other people is appropriate for her dietary needs, wants. You can't just go around eating random food you find and then pitching a fit at the owner because it has something in it you didn't want to eat. You have absolutely nothing to apologize for. Going forward, you should just give Alice a blanket warning that any food of yours may contain animal products, and that if she doesn't want to eat animal products, she shouldn't eat your food. People can't place expectations on the quality or ingredients of food they take without asking in someone else's house. And, Alice is totally an idiot for claiming medical conditions to enforce others to live by her preferences. Also, I made a lot of rice. Some with meat stock and sometimes with water. There's a real big difference in the taste. I don't know how she didn't know. I once had nearly the exact same argument with someone who didn't eat pork over baked beans. The baked beans in question literally had a crisscross bacon crust. Right on the top. Clearly in view. Then they had a fit that I didn't tell them there was pork in the baked beans. I don't have that kind of patience to entertain apologizing to someone in the wrong. I just asked her to leave. I, 35, have a 16-year-old daughter. I've been a single father since she was about 3 years old, as I got sole legal custody due to some addiction issues her mother has. We have a really good relationship, but I always worry about her not having a woman to talk to. Over the past few months she hasn't really seemed to be herself. I know she went through a bad breakup, but I've been worried it's more than that. I've tried talking to her, and my sister only lives down the street, so she's tried talking to her also, but my daughter is really keeping to herself and it concerns me. She went out to see her friends for the first time since quarantine started yesterday and asked me if I could give her room a quick tidy whilst she was gone. I agreed because she does a lot of chores, but she's not good at cleaning her room. Whilst I was putting clothes back in her closet, I stumbled upon what I now know to be her diary. I shouldn't have read past the first page, but I just wanted to know if there was anything going on she wasn't telling me about. There were some pretty heartbreaking stuff for a father to read about how down she felt about herself, so when she got home I brought it up to her. She asked me why this was suddenly coming up, and when I told her I'd read her diary she absolutely flipped and told me it was an absolute violation of privacy and she's completely humiliated. I told her I was just trying to protect her and she said it was none of my business and locked herself in her bedroom and hasn't spoken to me since. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot, you violated her privacy. I know it's incredibly difficult to hold back from what we think of as helping our children. But you have to think about it from her perspective. Regardless of your intentions, you have violated her trust and need to work to rebuild that. Start by apologizing and commit to both her and yourself that you will never do this again or anything like it. You are the idiot for sure. If you thought she didn't trust you before you read the diary, you can be rest assured that she doesn't trust you now. Judgment aside, most parents want what's best for their kids, and there are better ways to go about this. Have you thought about or talked about therapy for her? It may just be normal teenage stuff, but it might be helpful for her to have a third-party observer with absolutely no interest in the matter to help her work through whatever's going on. Not the idiot. My mom read my diary when I was acting out of the normal. But she never told me about it because I would have had the same reaction as her. Just don't tell her next time. I think you're being responsible because you knew something was going on. Reading my diary was the only way she knew I was self-harming and thinking about suicide. Imagine what would have happened if she didn't read that though? I probably won't be 24 years old today and not have my son.